So, in this edition, I am going to be talking about managing behaviors in the early years setting. Children in the early years classroom setting present different behavioral issues, different behavioral problems. And educators are sometimes therefore forced with a varieties of challenges in working with them. These different behavioral problems include emotional, social, learning, lack of motivations, etc., etc. Every child needs boundaries. Every child needs structure, which is how to give them security. That's how they get their own security. The boundaries we set for them, the structures that we put in place for them, that's how they get their own security. At the beginning of the year, the teacher and the class should make up rules for the classroom. It is essential that the teacher should discuss rewards and also punishments. Set clear limits about the rules and make sure that they are applied consistently and fairly. Rules that will govern the things, our activities, our behavior in the classroom, and make sure that you're consistent and that you're fair with how you apply these rules. Remember to consistently remind the children in the classroom, always remind them of these classroom rules. um, Anticipate and plan for problems. We know how the early year setting can be, and we know how little children can be. These problems are more likely to happen on unusual school days or on trips away from the school. Or even when a child is like extremely, sometimes they're just edgy and extremely upset. Try different sitting arrangements to ensure best learning opportunities for everyone. Children that are easily distracted do better. They do better off sitting close to the teacher, so that constantly you're calling them, calling back, you're calling their attention back to the class. You're engaging them, you're getting them involved. And some of these easily distracted children need a quiet corner. For some of them, they need to be put in a quiet corner. They just want, where there's no distraction, where nobody is making additional sound or making additional movements that will start to distract them. And don't make the classroom too bright or too busy. Sometimes teachers go to the extreme with that. Displays, I love classroom displays. And one of these days, I am going to be talking about classroom display and all that, and teaching and the use of teaching aids. But sometimes when they are too much, when it becomes too much, it gets for some children, it gets them really overwhelmed in their thinking, in their reasoning. It gets them really unsettled somehow. It gets them very easily distracted. Instead of listening to the teacher, they're busy, looking and trying to make out what the displays really are all about. That is when it is too much and when it is not relevant. We'll be talking about classroom displays very soon. Like I said, don't make the classroom too busy. Don't make it too bright, as this makes it even more difficult for the distractible learner to focus. For the disruptive learners, the very disruptive ones who want to touch others, who want to, who want to push things, who wants to, do things that are display behaviors that are disruptive. There may be the need to sit them away from others if they are really extremely that disruptive. So there's a need to move them away from others, not to totally seclude. It's not like you're going to seclude them totally like that, but just wisely create a distance between them and the other kids. It's good. It's good for them. Yeah, just during the learning time when you're trying to introduce a new concept or you're trying to teach a new topic, just within 10-15 minutes, yeah, you can just put them to sit just a distance away from others. If their disruptive behavior is that one that where they're fighting, where they're pulling, they're pinching, where they just can't sit still without touching others or without trying to destroy something or trying to be destructive in the class. All right. For struggling learners, they can be placed sitting next to the high achievers, the ones that seem to be picking up fast. You can put the ones that are a bit, I really wouldn't like to be tagging them yet in early years, but as a teacher, from your observation, you can tell the ones that are really picking, the ones that are prompt, they pick fast on learning. You can put the ones that are a bit behind, put them to sit with the active ones, the ones we actually sometimes call, we call them the high achievers. So it's good. It will encourage them. It is believed that struggling learners can be affected by the fast learners when they sit together in the class. They can be encouraged. They see the other one is trying, making effort, at learning and at attempting class task and class activity. It can help to also motivate them. It can help to also encourage the ones that are still a bit slow in getting the concept or learning. It's good. Avoid putting children in the situations where they can't cope or to take tasks that they might, they will struggle with it. Don't avoid putting them in situations like that. For example, the hyperactive ones who consistently struggle with standing in lines or taking turns could be made to not take turns. Don't make them to take turns. For those ones, there are some children like that. They're very hyper and they just struggle with taking turns. They just struggle with it. Just being in the line is something you can ask. If, for example, you're moving from the classroom, you're moving to maybe another setting for another learning activity. For example, you're moving from the classroom to the play area. You can, instead of forcing a child like that in that situation where you say you have to be on the line and he struggles with that, you can just easily tell that child, you will be the line coordinator. Be behind everybody. Look at them and tell anyone that you see that is not on the line, tell the person to go on the line, or you call me. Call me or you call the teaching assistant. That way, maybe that level of responsibility will help to put the child in check. He's not forced to be on the line. He's not taking any time with anything. So then, he will want to do that. So it will really help. It will help. All right. Also, with if he's still struggling, they go just tell, okay, you can be in the front. You can be in the front. All of us will walk behind you. So you are the one directing us. You're leading us. It's a way to also help to put him on check. He doesn't have to be on the line. He's not struggling with that. He's not struggling with being on the line, and all that. But at the same time, he's learning to be responsible in a way. So it will help to put him, under check. I hope that helps. They go ahead of the class or comes from behind. That's a good one. So you make sure that he's going ahead, like I said, or he's coming from behind on their own. So he's on his own. He's not being forced to follow to follow on a line. You'll see that it helps. This will relieve you of so much stress of trying to make sure that he's on the line. He's hyper. So don't force yourself into doing that, and don't force the child into a situation like that, okay? All right. This way, they are not fighting, and then he's alone. He's on his own. He's not fighting. He's not pushing. He's not getting irritated being on the line, which is the struggle that he has. That's the challenge that he has. So now he's not being forced to face that. Rewards can include some extra story time. For the ones, if you say, oh, those ones with the disruptive behavior, if you say, today, if I see that you're not pinching, you're not fighting, you're not pushing anybody, oh, I am going to get you this sticker. I am going to be giving you this, and I'm going to put you on the star chart. I'm going to put more stickers for you for today to show that you have indeed been doing well. So you can rewards can help. Rewards, children love it when you give them rewards. So that will definitely help. And I also noticed that in early years, children love it. They love story time. For me, they love story time. When they sit down, picture books, you show them lots of pictures, and then you say the words nicely, not too many words. You allow them to for example, maybe have role play time when they can come out to be, for example, Little Red Riding Hood, and then one of them can come out to actually be. It keeps their attention. It keeps them, glued to that particular lesson and activity. So you tell them and say, okay, you should be the little Red Riding Hood. You be the mother. You be the grandmother. You be the fox. Who wants to be the wolf? Who wants to be the wolf? You see, oh, they love it. So this will help also to keep that hyper for the ones who are hyper. The ones who are always disruptive, who are always fighting, pinching, they can't do without that. Those ones are glued to that role play activity. It will help. I hope that helps. All right. Then also you can like I said, lot of rewards. You can have a jar, especially for that particular child that is hyper, that is disruptive in his behavior. You can have a jar somewhere in the class where you put his rewards, where you put, like if it's blocks, you just tell him the red block stands for your good behavior, and then the green block stands for all the misbehaviors you have. So we want to see how many of the good behavior blocks you're going to have, and how many of the green ones that shows that you've been misbehaving. Then at the end of the week or the end of the month, I'm going to call your parents in to come see how you've been behaving in the class. He gets excited and gets encouraged to want to really put effort into trying to be good. Um, also, you can more time, and then you can also, for reward, if you don't want to use the star chart, the jar one, you can tell, I'll give you extra time to play, to go play on the playground. I'll give you extra time. I'm going to, instead of 10 minutes, you're going to have 15 minutes. You remember, they love it. They love being on the playground. They love it. They love playing. So you can tell, or the corner where they play with blocks, with Legos, they play with the toys, you can say, I'll give you extended time, because if you behave well today, if you behave well during this math time, or during our lessons, oh, you've behaved so well today, keep it up till the end of today. I'm going to give you more time to play outside. That helps. That helps. Yeah, it helps a lot. All right. Or you can even tell. Sometimes you will tell them, okay, I see that you have started today in a very good way, David. At the end of today, before we close, you're going to take all the activities you've done. I can see you're putting extra effort instead of scribbling angrily and making your classwork and your worksheet so untidy. Today, I see you're putting effort into presenting something very beautiful. Do you know what? Before we close today, you're going to take all your activity sheets, your worksheets, and go to the head teacher and show it to her. And do you know what? I am going to take your picture and put it on the display board for all the parents to see that you have been so nice and good today. This helps. It helps. It helps. So you should try it, especially with those very hyper ones. You don't know, you've tried everything, and then it seems just these simple tips I'm giving can really help. Yeah, they really do help. And then from the all right, so blocks and stars, if as he misbehaves, even for some, you can have a bottle filled of maybe like yellow blocks or stars or smiling faces, and then you say the misbehaviors you present. For every misbehavior you present, biting, pinching, and all that, I'm going to be removing each of these stars, each of these smiling faces, each of these blocks. I'm going to be removing them. So you see, it will become, you have less number of blocks and stars and smiling faces in your jar. So he wants to keep it up. And then you use the good ones, those ones who have their bottles, their jars still filled up. You can use them as examples to encourage and motivate the other ones who have the poor behavior. All right. When you give tasks and you give activities, make sure that you break them into smaller components. Break them into very small components that the children can deal with each at a time. That is very important and very essential. All right, especially for the hyper ones, so that they tend to perform better when the task is just for a short period of time. Just okay, fix these blocks for 5 minutes, and then arrange this. put them into categories, activities like that, and say within 10 minutes, within 5 minutes, so that the child works like that and then is able to finish on time. And then he understands what the assignment is, what exactly it is that you want him or her to do. All right. Break instructions into small terms that children are able to understand the exact thing that you want. He doesn't listen to instructions. He doesn't obey me in the class. He doesn't pay attention. That's why he doesn't get what he's being told to do. Sometimes it's because the instructions are a bit too complicated, and then the words you're using and the way you're putting them, follow simple steps with these children and explain to them exactly what it is you want them to do, what it is that you want to be achieved with that assignment. Yeah, it works better for them. Not just children with misbehavior, in general, for early years children. Just give in simple words, okay? Fix the puzzles, put this together, lay them on the mat. Simple terms and instructions and steps like that, they're able to comply with. All right. Then you can ask them to take turns to explain back to you, after you've given the instructions, after you've said, and then you can just say, oh, and Mariam, can you just tell me back, what exactly is it that I said you should do in this group? What did I tell you to do? And then she narrates it back, explains it back to you. Then you call like 2, 3 randomly like that to be sure that they understand the instructions you've given. And then they're able to, and that way you see that activities are well done in class that way when they understand the instructions and the steps. All right. I also would like to give more tips to teachers for group work activities. At the beginning of the year, it will help to teach and explain rules in your class for working in a group. For example, you say that we're going to be having group activities. You tell them like that when you present the rules. And when you give class rules, it could be at the beginning. Usually, for me, in my teaching experience and teaching years, classroom teaching years, I would just at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the term, which is usually, I think, in September, we sit together and form the rules in the class so that, and then we state it clearly. We can do it for a week, we pick 2, 3, and then they tell me, and then I help them to structure it out. I help them to put it together in a proper form. And then we say, we don't talk when the teacher is teaching. If we need to talk, we raise our hands. If I need to use the bathroom, I call the teacher's attention or I call the teaching assistant's attention. I don't wee on myself. I don't poo on myself. If I need to do any of these two, I call the attention of the adults in the class and then go to the toilet to do that. We put it together. We don't pinch. We don't fight. We don't shout at each other. We respect each other. And all these rules, you can put them into a form of role play. You can do that in your circle time. We'll be talking about circle time. Just look out for that. We'll also be talking about circle time. That's my best part of the day when I come in the morning. The circle time, I love it. I just love it. It helps me to prepare the children for the day. So it's also an avenue and a platform in which you can help children. You can help them to get, to understand these rules. They can come out. You tell them, is it good to pinch? Is it good to push? You teach and say how it hurts people's feelings and how it hurts our social and emotional skills. And also, like I keep telling people, when they work in a group, you've told them, and then teach them to listen to each other's feelings, each other's inner emotions. That's something that very important for children to learn, especially in this age and time. Adults don't listen to each other's feelings. They don't listen to each other's inner emotions, and that's why even mere looking at people, people don't know how to read feelings, how to read people's emotions. So we need to start to teach these children from early years. Teach them. Some kids don't care They simply don't even understand it. When another child comes in the morning and is looking sad, and it's very unusual for that particular child to look like that. Someone that is active, someone that is, friendly and all that comes in the morning. The peers, the other child beside her or that sits beside her or a friend should be able to tell and say, oh, Jumaya, are you okay? Roshana, is everything okay with you? Rama, you okay? Arlene, what's wrong? No, you don't look okay. Are you okay? You're not smiling. We should teach them to read, to be able to read emotions, and it's the circle time is a good time to do just that for them. They can put it in role play, and then we teach feelings, we teach emotions, we teach when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're excited. It's a good opportunity for them. And also let us teach them taking turns. For example, it's time to feed. It's feeding time. So what I encourage my TA to do is that we take turns, we take them on a line to the washroom, we wash our hands, we clean our hands with a tissue and the side tissue in the bathroom. We come back, we walk like that on the line, and then like that we sing as we come back to the class like that. It's exciting for them to look forward to it, and then I'm able to keep them still and keep them well behaved. I'm not stressed taking them out. I know a lot of teachers avoid activities that involves taking children out of the class to another setting, But for me, I enjoy doing just that because it works well for me. I sing, we are going to the washroom, to the washroom. We will wash our hands, yeah. We will wash our hands, yeah. Let us go. Let us go. And recently, now they've added going, we're going. And they were on the line and they put their hands on their shoulders like that. And we walk a nice line like that. We make a line like that and we go nicely. Nobody's running off the line. No, nobody's, I'm not chasing after any of them. And we come back to the class. For feeding times, when we come back to the class, they know it. They don't go straight to taking their bags. They go to their chairs and sit down nicely. They're waiting. And then myself and my teaching assistant and the other nanny that helps in the class, we go and get their bags. And then by their names, we start to put it in front of them on their tables. And they're seated and waiting. Nobody's jumping and saying, it's me, it's me, it's me. No, because it's our class rule. That's the way we play it when it's time to feed. When it's time to eat, we wait our turn. So each person is waiting. We're waiting our turn. And then we put the bags and then we go around again, bring their foods out nicely in front of them. They themselves now take their bags and hang it on the back of their chairs. So they start to eat. And then that's it. And I don't, like I told you, the hyper ones, the disruptive ones. So I have nice corners when it's feeding time because you get to see some of my children. They take their food. If you're not, that's why I said it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of structure. They take their food bits and they start to throw at other kids or just that. But nicely, I'm moving around, I'm walking around him, and 20 times I'm asking, oh, Danny, do you need help? You need support to put that out. Do you need support to bring your sandwich out of the box, out of your plate? And then right, like that, I'm showing so much attention, so much love to him, so that we eat, and then I have nicely behind just like a jazz instrumental playing slowly like that, and they love it. They love it. So they eat, and then each child eats nicely. When we go out on the playground, and then these really very hyper ones, we have this particular play equipment. It's filled with balls, different colors, thousands of them, and then they jump in and play. But we have some kids who go in there with other kids and they push the heads of some of these early years. They're little. They push their heads deep inside the balls. Accidents can occur like that. So what I do is for my very hyper active disruptive ones, I make them to be in the ball all by himself or all by herself. So she has her time. So I tell her, I'm counting, you have 2 minutes to be in there. And then, and you know what? Even sometimes after a while, he looks and then he says, um, man. Then I'm like, yeah. Can Victor join me in here? And then I'm like, yeah, Victor can join you, of course. But are you going to dip his head inside of the balls? And then he says, no, I promise I won't. That day I was really very touched. And somehow he started to control himself on that level. Remember that the purpose is just to make sure that there's no accident and that you're not stressed and the child is not stressed as well, and that all the children go home happy and their parents see them when they come back for them and they see them that they're in one piece as they brought them in the morning. And then I encourage lots of singing, lots of singing while they're on the playground, they're climbing, they're sliding, and then I come out and I start to sing just to make sure that they're on the check. And then I'm singing to them. We are sliding, we are climbing, we are strolling, we are running, we are catching, we are pushing, we are, and then I just keep on like that. I raise my voice, I lower it, I raise my voice and lower it. You won't believe it. It helps to put them on check. And sometimes I have these very, shy ones, this very withdrawn ones who wouldn't ordinarily want to be a part of it. And then, but when they see my singing, my so much activity and all that, and then they just then join so that I can call them and say, "Oh, David is climbing, Joshua is rolling." And then yeah, and they love it, and they love it. It works. Okay, it will help. Yeah. So then it's just all about being consistent and being fair with the rules that you give. If you say don't talk when eating, keep to it. Don't now be the one that will be talking to them when they're eating. Then you're the one talking to them. That's not it's not going to help. All right, for those ones in the class who seem not to be responding during learning, for example, your A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all that, and other kids are busy, singing and jumping and enjoying it, but this particular one is not, does not want to say anything. You can just go to the child, hold her hands, and then turn into just singing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. It helps. And then you see, she pulls, and after a while, you see she let go. And then from there you start, and the child also starts to respond. You don't, and then you want, for those ones who have social issues, those ones who are yet to get their social skills together, there are some like that who will just not mix. Sometimes you can get for them a buddy, a peer, like a friend. That one sits with them in the class. I used to have a son, a boy like, sorry, I call all my kids, I call them daughters and sons. I used to have this particular child in my class. He's a boy. He wouldn't play with anybody, he doesn't want to talk. Then this particular very hyper one, and then I just said, oh, and from every morning, this is your body. So for everyone, I even gave some of them the chance to actually make a choice. Pick your own body, and you can't believe after like 2-3 weeks, this particular child came out of his shell. You can see him now from the one I gave to him as his body. He now has, a chain like that. He has 2, 3 more. So it works like that. And like I said, circle time is a fantastic time to help those ones who don't have confidence for some reasons, who emotionally they are down and all that. It will help if circle time, role play, let them come out. Circle time, pick a topic. We're talking about friends. We're talking about friendship. How do we make friends? How do we maintain friendship? How do we keep our friends to want to be with us? Then you tell them to play it out, to act it out. It's a fantastic way to help children with social issues. And then it's also sometimes we think it's special needs. He's not talking. She's not. No, but sometimes it just might just not be special needs. It just might be a kind of behavior that needs to be properly managed and handled with and for the child. Yeah, because some children come from all sorts of backgrounds. So you never know what happened that morning. Daddy slapped mommy, or daddy pushed mommy, or we don't even have a place to sleep, or we're moving from one house to another, or we don't have enough to eat at home. All right. Thank you for being with me on today's edition. We thank God. I really enjoyed myself. All right. See you next time. Remember to like, remember to share with your friends to watch, and remember to subscribe. Very important. Remember to subscribe. Click on the notification button so that next time when we have a new video, you're quickly alerted. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful month ahead. Bye.